This is the 2025 RAV4 Adventure, and I really enjoy this car. I love the way that it looks. I love the way that it handles. It's been growing on me a lot. At first, I didn't really understand the approach that Toyota had to this vehicle, this RAV4, but now I'm starting to really understand it after I drove it for a couple weeks. Now, as you guys can see, it's a little bit dirty, but this is the Adventure edition, so of course, naturally, I'm taking it a little bit lightweight off-road, and I'm also taking it through the wintertime in Columbus, Ohio. And one thing I love about this car is that it's very beautiful. This generation of RAV4 is probably the most beautiful generation that has ever existed, to me at least. And with the Adventure model, you get a couple of different things that you don't get on the regular RAV4. This is a RAV4 that deviates off the path of the RAV4 lineup. So sort of like Porsche, when you're going higher up, you can split to the left, and that's what the Adventure is. The Adventure can come in different price points from $33,000 all the way up to $40,000, and that will include the top model, which we don't have. We have the lowest trim of the Adventure, RAV4 Adventure. As you can see up there, you have the top part, so you can carry things and add a roof rack to it. We have 19-inch wheels on this specific model with 235/55s. So some people actually go for the 17s or 18s. And with the smaller rims and thicker tires or taller tires, you can have a more comfortable ride to some extent. And also it would help a lot more on off-roading. But this is a mix between a city truck and an off-roading truck. This is a RAV4 Adventure. So for light off-roading, this is not a true off-roading truck with locking differentials in the front and the rear, because this one is all-wheel drive, but it's based more on a front-wheel drive platform, because all RAV4s come front-wheel drive until you go up into the higher trims, and then they become all-wheel drive. And as I said in the last video, the all-wheel drive system based on a front-wheel drive car is different than a all-wheel drive system based on a rear-wheel drive car. So this is going to be more front-wheel drive bias in a lot of situations when you're just driving normal. But I love the cladding on the car. I love the black on white Panda style. And actually, one of the things I love about Toyota and what Toyota, the direction they're going in, is that they're going into this very boxy era of Toyota trucks. And I'm so glad that they're going back to that like it used to be in the 80s and 90s, because the trucks were smoothing out a little bit too much for my liking. And this is giving more like off-road, squarish, just very beautiful. But a lot of hints. The taillights, I love. They have the red and white at the same time. And then you have a rear windshield wiper right here, so you can wipe off the back of your window. Very Japanese, very useful a lot of times, especially when you go off-road and it's dirty. You have two exhausts. It is a 4-cylinder, but you do have two exhausts. And then you have the Adventure badge right here. And I just love little hints about this car, like how the side of the car comes across, and then it comes down a little bit at the wing, and it swoops, and it goes down. And if you see that from the side, it gives it a lot of character. I really think this car is beautiful, and I think with the side cladding that you have right here, it gives off-roading. And I think this is enough off-roading for most people. If you want to mix between city driving and being able to do some light off-roading, going through some creeks or going over little rocks, not huge rocks, I think that this is a beautiful balance between comfort and going over terrain. So this RAV4 Adventure comes with a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, and it comes with 203 horsepower and 185 pounds of torque. And for a car that weighs between 3,600 to 3,700 pounds, it does the job adequately. I would like a little bit more power, but I think the power is good enough for what it is right now. But as you see, this is more of a traditional engine. You can actually see the engine to some extent. I wish the engine covers weren't plastic. There's also a lot of this going on, but if you look under there, you can actually see like the top of the engine, which unfortunately they don't make engine covers as beautiful as they used to be in the 90s, early 2000s, 80s, so forth, going back, where you could actually see the top of the motor, and they cared about how it looked. Now you have plastic. Now you could probably do something with that. You know, some people put carbon fiber ones on, or some people don't change it at all, but you have the option. It's a 4-cylinder. What I'm averaging right now, maybe because my foot is heavy, is around 26 to 27 miles per gallon average between highway and street. So that's a little bit about the motor. There's nothing here that is going to be super duper complicated like hybrid systems or anything like that. And I think the cost over time will be better for the owner, seeing that they don't have to deal with like hybrid system electric motors and turbo lines and all the things that might possibly break. In the front, you have this nice big grille, and it really gives presence on the road. You have HIDs in the headlights. You have fog lights here as well. I love the mix between plastic, like cladding and plastic, and gives it more of an off-roading feel, especially in the white and black color. And it definitely has presence when you're driving down the road. Like, people know that you're there, and I like that. The all-wheel drive system is very interesting. Like I said, majority of times front-wheel drive when you're doing city driving for better gas mileage, and there's a meter in the car, and I'll show you. But then when you run into problems, it has the ability to put the power from the front to the rear, more power to the rear and more power to the front when it's needed. But then also it has a torque vectoring system as well, where you could put the power more to the left side of the wheel or the right side of the wheel in the rear. So then you can pull yourself out of curves or like slide a little bit more through curves. And when you go through different modes, that distribution of power and how it's distributed from the front to the rear and how much is changed. But I'll show you when we get inside the 2025 Toyota RAV4 Adventure. I am using this car, so I want you guys to know that I'm using this car. So it's a little bit, I don't want to say messy, but you know, a little used. We have a nice thunk right there. I like that. This is a heavier door. It's a very good feeling when you get in here. It feels, how can I say this? It feels premium in an off-roading way. So you feel comfortable. You know that you're going to be safe when you get into this truck. And the materials are not the highest quality material. When you go to a different RAV4 higher model that veers more towards the city driving, then yeah, you get a lot more amenities in certain areas, because they know you're going to be rough on these rubber knobs. So it's rubber. And then you have rubber knobs up here for the volume. The steering wheel is a leather wrapped. I would say it's more like a vegan leather wrap, just like the seats are vegan leather or faux leather. I really like, though, the whole interior package. I like how things are very simple. On the left side here, you have different materials. This is not aluminum, but it looks like aluminum, but aluminum plastic, but it still looks nice. And for every day, I think that this will hold up pretty good. It would be nice to have real aluminum, but I know for the price point, but this is very interesting. Then you have over here, you actually have rubber grips to grip the door handle. So it helps to actually grab onto the door handle more and close the door, especially if you're off-roading and you have a little bit of mud on your hands or you're doing something. Like, this grip is amazing. It's actually helped more times than you think, because the door is a little heavy, just a little bit, but I like it. Down here, this is where you will pull to open the trunk, and this is where you'll pull to open fuel. You have certain things, you know, like automatic lights. So if you press this button and it's on, the lights will automatically turn on when you start the car, so you won't forget. But also it will vary between brights and normal lights whenever you're in certain situations. So when it's sensing someone coming, it will turn the brights off. But when it's a very dark area, the lights will automatically come back on. The brights will come back on. I love the ergonomics in here. I love all this squareness that I'm starting to see Toyota and Lexus has. Obviously, if you look at Lexus's in the 2026 model year, you're going to see a lot of this squareness. And Toyota actually has a new supercar, and Lexus too as well is coming soon. So they're sharing a lot of the same design languages in a lot of ways, which is not a bad thing, because Toyota is an amazing company. On the steering wheel right here, you have different options that I'll go through in a second. And you have front end collision, you have lane assist, you have so many different options in here. And I think it's for what you pay, especially starting off in the like mid 30s. And you know, now it's about to be 2026, so you could probably find this car for 30 or maybe 29. I think you get a lot for your money. Like, this is a pretty good package. And it's one of those things where over time, you start to uncover more and more little secrets. Interesting thing, water bottle. What can we fit right here? RAV4, water bottle. Nice. Now that's a plastic one. I'm gonna be honest with you, you're probably not gonna be able to fit a huge water bottle in there, but you have another area right here too that you can fit a water bottle in. And right here, you have this little cubby where you can put things. And at first, I didn't really understand this design cue at first. Like, it threw me for a loop. But actually, when I first got in, I didn't really realize it, like, right away. But, like, maybe 2 minutes later, I realized it. But you actually have this cubby that has, like, rubber texture in here. And you can sit things in here. And it actually sort of stays for the most part. So I like that design cue. I think a lot of trucks need to look at that little cubby area and put things, because there's a lot of things you put in here. Cell phones, you can put little snacks when the passenger is in the car with you. You could put a lot of different things in there. So I like that. You have more texture down here as well, so things are harder to slip. I have a adapter in here, but you have a regular 12 volts, so you can have an adapter like this. You can buy it from the store. This one is a Anchor one, so I think this one cost me like $20. It's really good. I had it for like a year now. But you can put it in 12 volt. They have USB-A port right here, and then I have things down here. But when you go in here, you have two USB-C ports, so you have a range of options of how you can charge your phone. And every phone obviously doesn't take the same charger, even though it's starting to go that way, but you do have those options. I love when it starts up because it's showing you that it's a RAV4 Adventure in some ways because of the graphics. When the graphics first come on, you see mountains in the background, so it's pushing you towards that adventure light off-roading lifestyle. You have many options, but I love that it's very simple. You have two regular gauges on the left and right side. You have RPM, you have your gas and your coolant temperature for your engine so it won't overheat. And then in the middle right here, you have this little display, this square. And in this display, it tells you a lot of things. Right here, right now, I have it. One of the funnest things I love to do is see what the all-wheel drive system is doing. And majority of the city driving that I do, the all-wheel drive system is actually front-wheel drive. But then I notice when I slip a little bit, it puts more power to the rear, the all-wheel drive system in the rear. So it has the ability to turn itself more into front-wheel drive and turn off the rear all-wheel drive system. And then it kicks back on. So it's a very interesting system. Eco mode, normal mode, sport mode, and mud and sand, and rock and dirt, and snow. And then you have hill assist too if you're on a hill. Now, this could be confusing for people that are new to off-roading or why this matters. Now, when you go to eco, obviously it's eco mode, so it's going to basically keep you in front-wheel drive majority of the time and try to cut off the all-wheel drive system because it's trying to save gas, right? And even with the extra weight of all-wheel drive in the rear, you still save more gas by just being in front-wheel drive majority of the time. Then you have normal, which is in between both, so it sort of kind of helps you guess while you're driving of what mode it should go, eco and then into sport somewhat. And then you have sport. When you put in sport, the throttle response is a little bit more lively, and it's just a little bit more aggressive when you drive it. There's nothing that changes when it comes to the suspension. There's no adaptive suspension in this car or anything like that. So it's more, sport is more of throttle control. That's more so about how much air it lets in the motor. And then when you have mud and sand mode is going to make the all-wheel drive system be a little bit more rear biased, just a little bit, and it's going to let you slide a little bit more because obviously you're in mud and sand, which is, your tire needs the ability to get rid of the mud and sand in between the tread marks in the grooves, so therefore it can get back to gripping on a slippery surface. And that's mud and sand mode. And then rock and dirt, once again, it's going to change the all-wheel drive system to accommodate to rock and dirt, and it's going to put the power to the front and rear more the demand of the car and how much grip you have on the tires. And then obviously you can push that normal mode, and then you have snow mode. And snow mode is going to be probably one of the safest modes, where it's going to, once again, modulate the all-wheel drive system from front and rear to give you the best grip. In this trim, we also don't have a sunroof, unfortunately, because I think that the sunroof that actually comes on the highest version is amazing. And I haven't got to experience it, but I've seen it, and it's so big and so beautiful. And I think the extra sunlight would help the interior of this car, but it's still good because of the colors that Toyota picks. Up here, you have a place where you can put your glasses. You have 2 dome lights. Then you can turn both of them on at the same time, but also the rear comes on when you do that as well. So I thought that was pretty convenient that you can control all of them at the same time. And then you have your SOS button, which I'm not going to push right now. Up here, you have your mirrors. You have, you know, where you can pull out and put mail. Pull it down. One thing I like about this is it has a light right here so you can see yourself at night. That's pretty handy. And then, how you doing? The buttons you have here are very easy, and this is one of the things that I've noticed that a lot of people really love is that we have real buttons, and these buttons are so easy and so memorable. Your hand can just touch it while you're driving and know exactly where it's at once you get used to it. They're so good. I'm so glad that Toyota is keeping real buttons, because real buttons are very tactile. And the heating system actually in here is pretty hot. I'm gonna be honest with you, look. Let's take it off eco mode. The back seat. This is an interesting area because I am 6 foot and I have so much room. This beautiful face right here, I have so much room. And the crazy thing about it too is that you can pull this up to obviously fold down the seat, but when you put it back, it locks, and then you can pull it up again and push it back and it reclines. Toyota is genius. It's crazy, I think, how much space this actually has for being as tall as I am. I'm literally like in my same position in the front seat that I sit at as a 6 foot, almost 6'1" man. And I have a ridiculous amount of space. I think the space management in here is top grade. Good job, Toyota. I've been using this truck for what it's intended for, so you're gonna see some things down here. But right here in the back, we have 2 more USB-C ports, which is nice for kids or passengers. And then you have 2 vents in the rear. So not a lot of things going on in the back seat, but very functional. So off in the RAV4 Adventure. So I'm gonna try to show you a little bit about the all-wheel drive system. And it's funny because it says roads may be icy, be careful. Hey, I appreciate that, Toyota, really do. And when we get back here on the road, we'll sort of kind of like see how the all-wheel drive system works. We'll see the type of power that it puts. I'm going to start off in eco mode, save a little bit of gas at the beginning and try to show you guys what I mean. So in eco mode right here, if you look right here, you can actually see that majority of the power is going to the front. Even when I push on the gas, majority of the power is going to the front. And the pickup on here is pretty nice. It handles bumps pretty good. I don't know how much off-roading I can do for you guys today, but I'll try to go over a couple more bumps. It seems to float over bumps pretty well. I think for a compact vehicle, I think it's just a tidbit harsh, but also it's the adventure model and it's meant to go off-roading. So what could you expect? But I still like it nonetheless. Like, I think it's really good. So eco mode basically is going to keep you mostly in front wheel drive. And I like how quiet it is in here. It's fairly quiet for being a off-roading truck, so I like that as well too. I think a lot of people are going to like that. The interior makes you feel very warm and satisfied when you're in here. It makes you feel like you're, you know, spending the exact amount of money you spent, actually a little bit more, and it's giving you the capabilities and abilities to drive off-road if you need to some extent and have adventures. You know, I would love to put a roof rack on top of this and put some gas cans and some different type of tools to dig me out the mud, traction boards. So like I said, it's most power going to the front in eco mode, but it's sending some power, as I'm turning to the right, it's sending power to the rear left tire. And obviously now it's sending power to like the left and right in the rear, and then now it's back to front wheel drive. So I'm gonna go to, we'll skip normal mode, I'll go to sports mode. And as you see, the gauges turn red, all the gauges turn red. So originally it was these two gauges on the right side that were red and the front was green in eco mode, but the middle one turns to red when it's in eco mode. And actually you get this little gravity, you get this little G's meter. So it tells you the amount of gravity that you're pulling. It doesn't really tell you like 1G or 2G of gravity if you're cornering, but it does have the ball there to show you which way that you're actually cornering. The experience that this Toyota RAV4 gives you is more of a upscale luxury one, even with the materials that it uses. And I think a lot of people are gonna feel very upscale in this vehicle. It's sort of windy today too, and there's not that much noise inside. I like that about just Toyotas in general, the quality, the build quality. And I think this is something, a product that will last for a long time. And they put everything where it needs to be. This infotainment system is actually pretty good. The connection to Bluetooth is really good as well. It's very simple. You click on the button, it connects, and it just goes. The speakers in here, at the highest trim, you have an option of a different speaker package, but we don't have that in here. But the speakers are pretty good for what they are in here. I don't have any complaints with them. I don't think they're anything super duper special, but I think for the amount of money you pay and what you're getting in this package, I think that it's really well. But I do love the simplicity and how quick things connect in this car. I love that. It's very good. And in sports mode, like I said, you know, it gives you a lot better throttle response, and the throttle's opening up a lot quicker. And the steering feels a little bit tighter too, as well, when you put it in sports mode. This is a 4-cylinder, so if you're looking for that V6 growl, you're not gonna get it here. This is definitely a 4-cylinder, and it's going to remind you that it is a 4-cylinder when you push on the gas. But for me, that's not really a bad thing. I'm used to 4-cylinders. I'm used to driving Japanese cars that are 4-cylinders, so it's not a horrible thing. But I know some people might want a V6 with a little bit more torque and a little bit more power, and for that, you might have to look higher up for the Toyota and Lexus trucks. And when you turn mud and sand mode on, the VSC is turned off. The pre-collision brake system is also turned off as well. So this is very interesting because it changes up the dynamics of the vehicle just a little bit, but it gives you a little bit more power to the rear when you're slipping. I can't really show you that right now because we're not in sand and mud. And then obviously when you put it in rock and dirt, it switches a couple of parameters as well, all software, all computer wise, and it adjusts power to where it needs to go and how the car handles. So this is really all a software change when you pick these options. There's really not really anything physical that's actually changing as far as like differentials and locking up differentials like in the Toyota Land Cruiser and things of that sort. But this vectoring all-wheel drive system is really good. I love the ride quality and the all-wheel drive system mix with the ride quality and the balance of this truck between a city truck and a lightweight off-roading truck. It's really good. Like, I think this is enough for most people, especially if you have a family. This will definitely get you through the winter time. And then also you have snow mode, and obviously when it's in snow mode, the dial's gonna change white, and yeah, it's going to change the all-wheel drive system to where it's at. But I noticed when it's in snow mode, the all-wheel drive system kicks in a little bit more than what it does in normal mode, and obviously in eco mode. So when you're telling it snow mode, I think the system and the computer automatically knows, like, hey, it's in snow mode. We're gonna put more power to the rear axles more than we do on normal and eco mode. Please like and subscribe. Comment down there and let me know, what do you think about the RAV4 Adventure? Is this something that you could see yourself driving?